What's going on? Hey, this is Introvert Boricua with an impromptu stream. Appreciate people in the chat that I see are already here. Starting out, definitely with our elder, with Uncommon Sense with Jose Negron. It's good to see you. Hey, RB, what's happening? What's going on? Yeah, and my guy, the 18 letter. What's happening? Good to see you on the chat. Yes, yes, yes. Wanna wanted to give a shout out to you. Also hit the like and subscribe, and feel free to comment in the chat to keep the conversation going. So the thing is that, as you guys know, I don't usually get into into the conversations that have to do with race like that. But on this one, I figure I'm gonna make an exception, getting into it a little bit, because I know that there has been, and this is not anything new when it comes to who is now the candidate for presidents for the presidency on the Democratic ticket. Um, there has been the question about what her ethnic background is. Normally, it's not something that I give too much thought about, and maybe it's causing a lot of confusion because from what we understand and what we have been seeing, that she's mixed, racially mixed. Um, and because of that, there are people that kind of like go back and forth as to what she is exactly, and with that, they figure that she might have um, divided loyalties. That's what I believe this has to do with where those loyalties reside. Um, when somebody who is running for the highest political office, and what I figured is that the work that has to be done, it has to be done for everyone, right? I understand that there could be certain expectations when somebody is from a particular group, and I do remember back in 2008, when former President Obama was running, and there was that question going on. That question going on because it's not he wasn't one race. He didn't come from one race. Him being biracial, and there were the questions as to what the loyalty will reside. And the I remember all of the discussions, and because he had a very Arabic sounding name, and there were the assumptions that he was gonna side with a bunch of Muslims, and he was gonna allow terrorism to happen here in the States. I remember that because of his name, he was gonna have um that type of loyalty to something foreign, which fortunately it wasn't necessarily proven. You correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, if anything, he did things um, uh, more for the people of this country, and yes, there were some decisions that were made that did affect it negatively outside of the country. Um, I'm trying. Let me see. Hey, Rando Calrissian. Okay, all right. Yeah, I remember Jeremiah Wright. Um, hey. So that argument. There is that argument now with what's happening with Kamala Harris, and when it comes to her ethnic background, which has been debated, it has been debated for some times, and for some time. And I do understand that there is that notion as to what does she identify for the most part. The thing is that if she's going to be running for office, she's going to be running for political office, and she's a North American a U.S. citizen, that should be kind of like the more primary identity. Okay, yes, it's okay to kind of like bring up here and there, kind of like what the background is to possibly make her more relatable to other groups of people, because we were used to, for the most part, in the highest offices, political offices, we see more of the Caucasian persuasion, and we have been used to it, and but not everybody is of the same group, so it shouldn't be an issue. Me sounding idealist, I know, I'm sounding a little bit idealist. It shouldn't be just one group of people that are having the representation. Now it can get a little complicated when we talk about what the expectations are, and what how do we take it, and where do we go from here when it comes to expectations, and where do the loyalties lie, um and what was what was the kind of like the question is being questioned recently. And this is something that I don't necessarily disagree disagree like what happened. I understand that it was yesterday. Um, when it comes to when it comes to um, the the ethnic background, or what was questioned, because yesterday there was this interview that Trump was having um, with the Association of Black Journalists, and the thing is that that came up. That came up. The question about what she identifies with, that date came up. I'm sure that many of you have seen it, when she started saying that she was identifying with being Indian, and then she started identifying with being Black American. I actually don't have a problem with that question. I think that the question was actually fair. As much as I think that as much as I still see Trump as a piece of shit, and I say that because I have my reasons. I have my reasons for that. It's not just because somebody else doesn't like him, and because I'm supposed to be a Democrat, because I don't even consider myself a Democrat, or completely left leaning. I will be. I consider myself a little bit more left of center, because I don't agree with everything. There are some things um, that I could agree with Republicans. I'm talking about Republicans, not the fucking MAGAs. The MAGAs are a bunch of cult members, and they're problematic, and there is already a history of that. And the MAGAs are are the one that are committing acts of violence and terrorism, and hang on. What's that? Okay. Yeah, the Hispanotypes, they don't matter. They don't matter. I know. There might be some of them that do have a loud voice, but they're just running their mouth. They don't matter. They speak for a tiny little bit of people, whatever. But the question that was being asked, it was like a few minutes in the beginning of it, when Trump did question about whether Kamala Harris was a black woman or not. That I don't have a problem with it. I give him that. That's something that I do, given him questioning that part. He started kind of like mocking, and yeah, that didn't sit right with me. Um, what? Hey, Juju. Hey, what's going on? Hairy people? What do you mean? You're giving the middle finger to hairy people? I have some hair myself. Look at my picture. I have a hairy face. Okay. It's trolling, trolling. Okay. But as I was saying, I don't have a problem with that part. I don't have a problem with that because it's a question that um no, no. I'm sure that you're not talking about the same person. Never mind. Never mind. um, it's. Let me see. Come on, I'm trying to look at the comments. Yeah, yeah. Maybe it's because of the work that I do. That I try to do one thing at a time to make sure that I get it right. Um, and let me see if I have the video. Let's see if I have the video. Okay. No, because the first thing that he's doing is that he's complaining. He's complaining ass. It reminds me of how he did when he went to Puerto Rico. My people were in need, and he went down there to complain. There were resources that were gonna be needed to help people. But I mean, that's yeah. I heard something about that. Is there something wrong? Was there a storm? Okay, right, right, right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You. I know. You're not in Houston itself. Uh, yeah, it was classic, but that's not what. Yeah, yeah. The whole thing about the throwing the paper towels. That's not even it. That's not even what I had a problem with. That I mean, the optics were not that great, but that's not what I had a problem with. What I had a problem with, and this is something that you can look up, was that okay? Um, a hurricane had just been through Puerto Rico, and it caused major chaos, disaster, destruction, and thousands of lives were lost. Also, my people were in need, and he went down there to complain about that there were going to be resources that were going to be used, held back FEMA aid, and in an ultimate act of pettiness, he wouldn't even consider suspending the Jones Act that has been in place for over 100 years and that has been exploiting economically my people. He wouldn't even consider it. That because of not be willing to suspend the Jones Act, that meant that other countries that wanted to help us, that were sending ships with aid to Puerto Rico, they were sent back because that was fucking petty. That's why I think he's a piece of shit. It's not because of somebody else's opinion or because I'm a snowflake or something like that. It's because he specifically set out to make my people suffer. Eventually, FEMA aid started mobilizing and reaching Puerto Rico, but that was because of the diaspora sounding the alarm and doing the protests. And anybody who's from New York, you know that that um the there were meetings. There were meetings. I remember seeing the press conference when Andrew Cuomo was the governor, and he was pledging aid for the island, and Jennifer Lopez was standing next to him. You know, all of y'all that that hate Jennifer Lopez, and all of that. At least there will be moments when she will be doing the right thing and use her influence and use her status, and for something that was actually good. Yeah, yeah, she's a diva. She might be a bit of a bitch because she's been enjoying success for all these years, and that can change people. I get it. Okay, that's fine. But at least on that instance, in a time of need for the island, she did mobilize. Yeah. Mm, okay. Okay. All right. Let me do the following because I had already copied the link. Let me see if I can get it to. Nope. I thought it should have gotten there. Yeah, I'm kind of working on the link. Gonna working on the link a little bit. Bear with me. Yeah, that's how this is for me. I can never get this. I can never get this going. Get this going. Okay, here we go. Hearing a little bit of feedback. Let me see if I can pin this. Okay. The link should be pinned on the top of the chat. Yeah. That is just spooky. Somebody brought you in with their thoughts. Hey, Blood Moon. Yeah. Thanks, Jojo. Yeah, I see. Okay, I see you. Yeah, Giuliani is in trouble. He's in trouble. He lost a big case, I understand, recently, which is wow. I don't know right now exactly what the charges were, but yeah, he's in trouble. He lost a case, and he's owing like millions of dollars in a settlement. Um, and it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate because I understand that Giuliani, he was also um, the governor of New York. You guys correct me if I'm wrong. And he was the one who successfully was able to use the RICO Act to put away the mobsters. He did a lot of cleaning up. He did good things with that. He helped clean up New York City from the whole. Even though he's Italian American, he still went on and used RICO to kind of like fight the mob. I mean, you can't have a problem with somebody who does that. But apparently, he got caught up in his own brand of corruption and ended up getting in trouble and lost a settlement. I'm sure you guys in New York, you know better what I'm talking about. And I'm gonna be bringing up my first guest. Hey, Don Jose, how you doing?
Good evening, Ramon. Thank you for allowing me on your platform. I do have a lot of things to share regarding Kamala Harris. The fact of the matter is, she is the first mixed female
Hmm.
for president. Her
And
mother
there is
is,
nothing wrong with that. There is nothing wrong with that. Her being mixed. Like
I agree.
she should be running more about. Okay, so she's a woman, but don't just stay repeating that she's a woman. Okay, we can see it. We can see it that she's a woman, but be more about what is she gonna do? What is she
Okay.
gonna be doing? What the platform is?
Okay. Well, unfortunately, what happens in this country, whenever you are the first of anything,
Hmm.
there's going to be a lot of opposition. Okay. Kennedy went through that in 1960, when he was running to become president. Barack Obama went through that in 2008 when he wanted to become president. Now, unfortunately, Kamala Harris is going to go through the same thing. And unfortunately, she has dealt with a lot of racist remarks um, from the Republican Party, mainly the Trump campaign. I mean, and some of the stuff, that gotten real nasty, and the fact that he refused to get into a debate with Kamala Harris.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I mean,
He
and
backpedaled
and
from.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
and the fact of the matter is, I know there's a lot of things that people don't like about Kamala Harris, particularly regarding the fact that she did put a lot of black people in prison for long prison sentences. These are things she's gonna have to account for. She's gonna have to question. She's gonna have to address it. Good evening, Rakim.
Hey,
What's
shout
going
out to
on?
you today. Shout out to my boy Introvert Boricua. How y'all doing today?
Doing okay. I'm doing all right.
Yeah.
What about you? We haven't seen you. We haven't seen you. I barely seen you anywhere. I know that I haven't talked to you. I know that you have been busy with your stuff. For those that don't
Yeah.
know, a couple of weeks back, I had a few days off, and I had the opportunity to travel to Chicago, and I linked up with the 18 ladder. We hung out. We hung out in Chicago. It was a good time. Gracious
That's
host. Hmm.
that's my boy right here. Yep, he got a chance to link up with me. He came up here. I showed him a little bit. I didn't get a chance to show him as much as I wanted to. And but he's definitely gonna come back and hopefully I get a chance to meet some more people that I've met online in person. I plan to travel to New York at the end of the year or the beginning of next year because I definitely want to see New York before it's too gentrified, and I want to hit the five boroughs: Manhattan, Brooklyn, the Bronx, and so hopefully I'll get to meet some of you all while I'm there.
Well, hopefully, Rakim, when you do decide to arrive in New York, hopefully you will think about letting me know so we can link up.
Oh, I would definitely, Jose, definitely. You, of course, Truth Teacher, a few other people that I would definitely love to meet while I'm in NYC. So definitely, yes. But my take on it, like as far as what's going on with Kamala, uh, I feel like I understand why people are saying what they're saying, but I'm not gonna denounce her heritage. Obviously, her father is I don't know if they would consider him mixed in Jamaica or just a Afro Jamaican, and her mother is an Indian, so she definitely has some Afro heritage. And of course, in the United States, she would be considered a black woman. But I think you covered it the best, Ramon, when you just said where her loyalty will lie. And I think Kamala's loyalty lies in the Democratic Party. She said when she was vice president that they wasn't going to do anything specifically for black people. She said that. She came out of her mouth and said
Mhm.
that. And I think a lot of people have already forgotten that because most people, America's game is to keep everybody ignorant. As long as you keep everybody ignorant, then you'll be able to manipulate and divide people and give crumbs to certain people to feel like that they are in a better position than other people and to keep other people bitter and trigger them with certain racial dynamics and different things like that. That is the name of the game in America. It's a monopoly on who can get certain things, and as long as I can benefit from it as an individual, as long as I can bring some people along with me or my group in particular, to hell with everybody else. And that's what America placates on. And shout out to Blood Moon. Blood Moon says Indians are not seen as black in the U.S. You're absolutely correct, Blood Moon. They are Caucasian, actually. Even though Indians are South Asian, a lot of Indians are classified as Caucasian in the United States. And um, yeah, I think for the most part, she's just pandering to Black Americans because she need to vote. Because in my personal opinion, what the Democratic Party was dependent on was the Hispanic vote. They were very dependent on the Latin vote, as far as all of the different groups in the Hispanic diaspora. But that's like a 50-50 split because a lot of Hispanics are very conservative, especially due to being Catholic. And a lot of Hispanics are not down with that non-binary
Oh
situation.
no, no, you can't really talk to us about that whole gender fluidity garbage. And that for the most part, and the whole and the Latinx term that most of us don't really go for it. There might be some of us that are more very liberal. There are some of us that are like that, and they will identify as so-called Latinx. But the vast majority of us, we don't go for that. It doesn't mean anything to us. We don't we don't really we don't really care about those recent terms that have been made of. It's not a thing for us. So yeah, you're right. And culturally, even though we can be out there, even though we can be into some mess, even though there are some of us that make the majority look bad because they're involved with crime, they're in BS and all that. But culturally, at the root, we do have more of a conservative culture. It's just that some of us do like to be out there and party and BSing and getting into trouble. It happens with us too. We're
Yeah,
not
I think
Mhm.
that it happens with everybody. And
Mhm.
so like with that being said, Blood Moon said I vote for anyone who is opposed to that nonsense. But
Yeah.
with that being said, it's like she's trying to, placate on the black community, and really this thought process of how black Americans think, really it kind of started with Obama. Even when
Mhm.
you look at like a lot of the racial tension and everything, because people will say, no, it was Trump. No, the racial tension kicked up with white Americans when Obama became the president. That's when you started seeing a lot of, those hidden that like the hidden prejudice and racism that still exists in America. And the funny thing about it with Obama, he was only half Kenyan and half white American. But
Mhm.
we see, because in America we identify race before culture, even though culture
Yeah.
and race is kind of intertwined. So a lot of us find it difficult to see people that identify culture over race, and that's one
Mhm.
thing I've learned after having a lot of these conversations on YouTube. And the funny thing is, even though Barack Obama would be, in some maybe some countries he'll be seen as biracial, he had a
Mhm.
lot of vitriol and a lot of anger, um, that he had to deal with by being in the White House. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people that tried to sabotage him, and this is coming from a biracial man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
people try to say, "Oh, well, they see us as different, or they see us as this and that." Maybe in certain cases it depends. If you can pass, maybe. If you have more Euro features, maybe. But maybe if you have more African features, it depends. And like a lot of those situations he had to deal with. I remember when they was uncovering people making fake money of him, with his face shaped like a monkey, and
Mhm.
fried chicken and watermelon on the bill. I remember all of that stuff. I remember
Yeah.
the people
Yeah,
plotting.
no, no, yeah. He had to deal with bullshit. And remember, I was already living in the South when he got into the White House. So even on the radio programs, there will be people that were doing a whole bunch of speculating about how he was going to break the country, break the government, and he was gonna let Muslim terrorists coming into the country and create chaos and all of that. I was hearing all of that. I was already in Mississippi, living there at the time, and they were doing
Um,
all that level of speculation. And,
excuse me if I can just cut in. The problem is whenever you are the first of anything running
Mhm.
for high office, unfortunately, there's going to be a lot of ignorance that you're going to have to deal with. Kennedy had to deal with that when he ran for president in 1960. The fact that people were afraid that he's going to let's get his instructions from the Vatican, whatever, and he had to explain. Even though he's Catholic, he's going to think or attempt to do things for the well-being of U.S. citizens. Barack Obama
Mhm.
had to deal with that in 2008, being the first um, person of color, even because he was biracial. And even when he got elected, I mean, he had to go through a lot of negativity. And then there were, the Republicans, their number one goal was make sure that he only had one term in office. So now it's Kamala Harris, okay, that's dealing with the fact that, she's the first um, mixed.
Yeah, I remember that Obama
So,
was.
and unfortunately, it's gotten very vicious. Okay,
Yeah.
and I don't know if anyone saw the video regarding Trump being invited, to the conference of black journalists.
Yeah, I
And
can play the clip in a moment, but before I do that, I wanted to play another clip that has to do with what 18 letter was talking about when it comes to the whole
Right.
thing about reparations. Let me see if I
Hey,
can.
Ramon, can I add something real quick? And for those
Yeah,
people that will say, "Oh, Black Americans hold on to the one drop rule," if you saw the vitriol that Obama had to deal with in presidency, you will
yeah.
see that one drop rule ain't
No,
just.
I think it's alive and well, and that goes to part of what I'm trying to say. That while I don't have a problem when Trump was questioning her ethnic background, Kamala's ethnic background. At the same time, I don't have a problem with Kamala claiming kind of like the African ancestry because of her dad. Her dad, it will make, because of her dad, it will make her like a quarter African descendant because of her dad being biracial, and because I think quarter is more than a one drop rule, right? So
Oh,
she
absolutely.
will be in a position where she could claim that ancestry too.
Absolutely. And the thing with that, and it's obvious, you can see that the woman, I mean, I don't know, maybe I'm tripping, but I can
Hmm.
see her, her African features in her face. Um
Hmm.
her sister as well. Her sister is more darker, but she looks more Indian. But it's like, but you hit the nail on the head earlier when you said it's about where your loyalty lies, because like I say, Black Americans got Barack Obama in there. Barack
Yeah.
Obama wouldn't have got in there if it wasn't for Black Americans. Everybody, I know people that never came out and voted, and I mean, that never voted came out and voted for Barack Obama, and he placated on race with his whole marketing when he said change. Oh, it's about change and hope. You the
Hmm.
change of seeing somebody of African ancestry become the president. And when he got in there, I don't know, he'll probably never come out and say. Maybe his hands was tied. Maybe he realized the intricate
Hmm.
systems of the United States prevented him from actually trying to do anything uh for Black Americans. But maybe he won't say that. But it's obviously that he didn't really do much when it came to trying to
Yeah.
help Black. And the funny thing is, a lot of Black Americans say, okay, well, we know they own them or whatever for this first term. So when we get him in the second term, maybe he'll try to do things then. And then, he never.
Yeah, maybe they didn't get the results that they wanted on the second term, because he wouldn't lose another election because he wouldn't be eligible for it.
Hmm.
I get it. I get what you're saying, but really quick, I don't think I can play this whole thing. Fair use, fair use. This is an unlisted video from the Griot that they were the ones that did that interview in which she said, and in which Kamala said what she said about the whole reparations thing. Let me see if I can put the banner. Uh, if I can put the banner first, really quick. Yeah. And put the fair use thing. Okay, bear with me.
One of the critiques that we've seen around Vice President Kamala Harris actually comes from an interview that she did with me.
Yeah.
I asked her about reparations. It was at a time when a lot of presidential candidates were being asked about where they stood on reparations. And VP Harris decided to answer the question by focusing on the sort of rising tide lifts all boats. She was talking about the child tax credit, getting children out of poverty, and that not being a policy that was explicitly for African Americans, but disproportionately impacted African Americans.
Do you support reparations for Black people?
Well, listen, again, we had over 200 years of slavery. We had Jim Crow for almost a century. We had legalized discrimination, segregation, and now we have segregation and discrimination that is not legal but still exists and is a barrier to progress. We have disparities around housing. We have disparities around education. We have disparities around income. And we have to recognize that everybody did not start out on an equal footing in this country. And in particular, Black people have not. And so we have got to recognize that and do something about that and give folks a lift up. That's why, for example, I'm proposing the LIFT Act. Give people who are making $100,000 or less as a family a tax credit, which will benefit and uplift 60% of Black families who are in poverty.
So by default, it affects Black families, but there's not a particular policy for African Americans that you support.
But no, if you look at the reality of who will benefit from certain policies, when you take into account that they're not starting at the same place and they're not starting on equal footing, it will directly benefit Black children, Black families, Black homeowners, because the disparities are so significant. So if we focus on the specific issues that have resulted in the greatest disparities, and we understand that that's part of why we're doing it. Listen, the reality also is this: any policy that will benefit Black people will benefit all of society. Let's be clear about that. Let's really be clear about that. So I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to do something that's only going to benefit Black people. No, because whatever benefits that Black family will benefit that community and society as a whole and the country.
But when she used the words, I'm not just going to say I'm only going to do things for Black people. It was a version of that. Some people who just clipped that portion of the answer. And of course, in the age of social media, people don't check for the context. Reparations is tricky. We know that. And so she may have been trying to be careful in terms of the way that she answered it. Perhaps she just wasn't ready to come out and say that, which some people, that she supported it, which some people may critique. But the point was that she was having a larger conversation about how policies that attack poverty and policies that attack economic inequality are going to disproportionately help Black communities. What do you think about that? Just the way in which that quote, for some people, was taken out of context. And just anyone who heard that quote, who still feels some type of way about it, I mean, what do you tell them about how to make peace with that?
Well, I think, first of all, context really matters. When you're taking 4 seconds of a clip, why in the world would anybody draw a conclusion off of 4 seconds of a clip out of a 20-something minute interview? I just so happened to be watching a portion of that interview. It cut off, the clip that I saw cut off before that particular answer. But I remember that interview very distinctly as a person who covered all of Vice President Kamala Harris's interviews, from even her press conferences back to when she was the Attorney General. And I've seen the way that she speaks. She's not a person who speaks in sound bites. I'm just going to be honest about that. She likes to give you the context, the historical stuff. And I've been saying, girl, can you give us the 10 second, 30 second, 60 second highlight? But that's not really her style. I'm just going to keep it real. The reality of it, though, was the point that she was making was not that she refuses to do anything specifically for Black people. The point that she was making is that anything done specifically for Black people actually benefits the greater society, because when Black people benefit, then the entire society benefits, because we are the economic engine of this country. We are the tastemakers of this country. And it is actually racism that is costing this country growth in terms of our GDP and a number of other things. In that same interview, she laid out a very detailed way of which she's going to address Black issues specifically. She talked about, her Maternal Care Act, which I mentioned earlier, which is about ending the maternal health rate, or the maternal mortality disparities with Black women. That's a Black specific thing that's specifically on the issue of race. She talked about criminal justice reforms. Donald Trump, now, if you're mad about what Vice President Kamala Harris was saying about trying to get consent decrees reinstated and pattern and practices investigation, then you should be mad about Donald Trump saying that he's going to give cops immunity if he gets reelected. And so we have to become a group of people who think critically beyond the very small slices of information that's fed to us to be inflammatory. Vice President Kamala Harris has absolutely had an agenda that is about specifically tackling the disparities that Black people have faced. Those disparities and that lens of trying to tackle those disparities has been blocked by the Republicans. What happened around the student loan debt forgiveness, where Vice President Kamala Harris's idea was to give Pell Grant recipients double the forgiveness, something that 70% of Black students were eligible for Pell Grants, is something that we have been trying to do to get around the issue of a Supreme Court that is not going to allow anything that says Black, Black, Black in neon letters to go through. Affirmative action has been overturned under this Trump Supreme Court. We had the Fearless Fund, which was a small fund that was giving tens of thousands of dollars of grants to Black women, has been blocked by the courts. So we have to be smart and strategic in how we attack these racial disparities. We don't necessarily get, like I said, the neon letters, but it's about the impact and it's about repairing.
Yeah, I was about to cut it off because it's kind of like talking a little bit on
yeah, and I have a few things to say as well.
Yeah,
but I can speak.
I just wanted to add something real quick. As you notice, when you hear this woman speaking, she never said anything particularly about Black men. She was talking about what Kamala was going to do for Black women and mentioning Black people. And then you hear them talk about, as she goes on, you hear her talk about how affirmative action was overturned. You can thank the Asians for that. You can thank the Asians that got with Edward Bloom, who thought that they was going to pretty much, what's the word I'm looking for? Throw Black people under the bus and say that they weren't getting more spots in these colleges because of Black people. And then they turned around and shot themselves in the foot by
I did a live stream about that. Did a live stream about that, and I presented all of the videos on TikTok of all of the Asians that were saying, "Look, this doesn't benefit us. We don't have any help now. Now there is gonna for all of the Asians that won't get into college, they won't be able to say that there is any type of discrimination." I mean, I have the live stream. You can check it out. There were
no, I think I remember you doing that.
I did a live stream about that. The whole thing about what happened with affirmative action and how it was pushed by a kind of like right wing Asian was one of the people that pushed for that. There was a white man, an older white man that have been trying to have that overturned for a long time. And they ended up getting it. And there were
and the funny thing is they used the Asians to do it because they knew they just couldn't come out and outright say on their own that, hey, we're just trying to get rid of this because we don't believe in actually fairness with other groups, anything like that. And we think that those spots should be solely for more white people, white Americans. So they did is because Black people fought about it. Well, let's get a buffer class. Let's get somebody that we've told them, hey, well, you guys are the standard minority, or you're the upward minority. So we're gonna, you guys, they're just crying, they're victims. So you guys don't believe that, right? You guys believe, if you work hard enough, and they foolishly fell for it, and now they've actually X'd themselves out as well. I believe his name was Wang. His last name was Wang. I can't remember the guy. But what's his name? And then Edward Bloom, now he's doing everything he can to undermine, to stop Black women from getting loans, to open up businesses and everything else. He's saying that is racist or different or whatever he's doing. But for the most part, these are the same men that, some of these women on here praise that,
There isn't so much talk about affirmative action these days. It's more about the whole DEI thing. That
Yeah,
has been what has replaced what they call DEI.
Yeah.
Diversity, inclusion.
Uh,
I forget what the acronym is. It's, that,
yeah, I actually did,
inclusion, that's one
if
of
I
two.
can,
Uh-huh.
yeah, I actually did a short stream earlier today regarding that and regarding the remarks that Trump made um, at the conference of Black journalists, talking about that. And actually, the moderator asked Trump regarding some of the remarks he made, with, like, for example, referring to Kamala Harris as a DEI candidate.
Let
And
me play
some,
it for you. Let me play it for
okay,
you.
but before you can, if I can just, because I've been waiting. Okay.
Yeah.
So, she was asking legitimate questions regarding statements that Donald Trump has made, and he got very defensive, talking about how dare you talk to me that way? How dare you? So I mean, first of all, let me tell you
At the
something.
very beginning. At the very
Okay,
beginning.
first of all, let me tell you something. Whenever you decide to run for political office, particularly when it comes to the office of President of the United States, you have to be prepared to answer whatever questions. And if you made statements in the past regarding whatever it is, people are going to bring it to your attention, and people are going to expect you to give a response. Okay, what you could do is either acknowledge it, deny it, or just give your own nuances. But basically, he was just gaslighting the moderator and things of that nature. And I mean, look, whatever you might feel about Kamala Harris, and I have issues with her as well. The fact of the matter is, you know, um, she was the district attorney for San Francisco. She was the senator for California. She is the vice president. Now, of course, people have a lot of concerns regarding what she's said or done in the past, and she's going to have to answer to that. Because whatever you say or do, people are going to bring it up. So you have to be prepared, and you have to be more thick-skinned. I'm sorry, but Donald Trump just came across as a bully,
Snowflake.
as
A bit of
a,
a
as a
snowflake.
child complaining
Trigger.
because they took away his toys.
Yeah. I mean, he's been doing that for years. Even when he was president, he will be throwing temper tantrums. I mean, I remember seeing that picture when he was in a meeting with different people of different countries. One of the people that were there was the German chancellor at the time. Her name was Angela Merkel, and you see her leaning over the table trying to tell him something, and he has his arms folded, pouting like a kid. Like this guy is pushing 80 years old and he's doing gestures like a kid. You can look it up. I mean, it's a picture in which he's in a meeting with different people from different countries. One of them was Angela Merkel. She was the chancellor of Germany when he was in office, and apparently she said something that he didn't like, and he folds his arms and pouts, literally pouting like a like a kid, like going like that. For real, the picture is out there. I don't have it with me right now, but I've seen it, and I was like, wow, this is who we got in office. A pouting kid. And like he got his toys taken from him, like you say. But let me see if I can play the clip, unless
and I
there is
was
something
just,
wanting to
I
add
was
really
just,
quick.
yeah, I was just gonna say, I want to hear TT Juju opinion on this. She should join the panel.
Yeah. The link is at the top of the chat. You can join in at any time.
Well, actually, I'm going to be doing a stream Saturday night, and the question is Donald Trump afraid to debate Kamala Harris?
Apparently,
Okay, I'm going to be talking, because these are things I'm going to be talking about as well. I mean, because The fact of the matter is, his excuse is, oh, well, we don't know who's going to be the Democratic standard bearer. I mean, look, for all intents and purposes, it's going to, unless something weird happens, it's going to be Kamala Harris. Okay.
Yeah. All right. Let me play this. Let me play this really quick, and we'll comment on it. Fair use. Let me see if I can. Okay.
People did not think it was appropriate for you to be here today. You have pushed false claims about some of your rivals, from Nikki Haley to former President Barack Obama, saying that they were not born in the United States, which is not true. You have told 4 congresswomen of color who were American citizens to go back to where they came from. You have used words like animal and rabid to describe Black district attorneys. You've attacked Black journalists, calling them a loser, saying the questions that they ask are, quote, stupid and racist. You've had dinner with a white supremacist at your Mar-a-Lago resort. So my question, sir, now that you are asking Black supporters to vote for you, why should Black voters trust you after you have used language like that?
Well, first of all, I don't think I've ever been asked a question in such a horrible manner. First question. You don't even say, hello, how are you? Are you with ABC? Because I think they're a fake news network, a terrible network. And I think it's disgraceful that I came here in good spirit. I love the Black population of this country. I've done so much for the Black population of this country, including employment, including opportunity zones with Senator Tim Scott of South Carolina, which is one of the greatest programs ever for Black workers and Black entrepreneurs. I've done so much. And, and I say this, historically Black colleges and universities were out of money. They were stone cold broke. And I saved them and I gave them long-term financing, and nobody else was doing it. I think it's a very rude introduction. I don't know exactly why you would do something like that. And let me go a step further. I was invited here and I was told my opponent, whether it was Biden or Kamala, I was told my opponent was going to be here. It turned out my opponent isn't here. You invited me under false pretense. And then you said, you can't do it with Zoom. Well, where's Zoom? She's going to do it with Zoom and she's not coming. And then you were half an hour late, just so we understand. I have too much respect for you to be late. They couldn't get their equipment working or something
Mr.
was
President,
wrong.
I would love
I think
if you
it's
can
a
answer
very
the question
nasty
on your
question.
rhetoric and why you
I have
believe that
answered the
Black voters should
question.
trust you with another
I
4
have
years.
been the best president for the Black population since Abraham Lincoln. That's my answer.
Better than President Johnson, who signed the Voting Rights Act?
And for you to start off a question and answer period, especially when you're 35 minutes late because you couldn't get your equipment to work in such a hostile manner, I think it's a disgrace.
Let me just ask a follow-up, sir, and then we'll move on to
Hey,
other questions.
can you pause it 1 second, Ramon?
Yeah.
And he tried to say low key they was on CP time. I caught it. But I just wanted to say, this is not going to fare well. And because TT Juju touched on it a little bit in the chat, where she was like, Kamala Harris is dependent on the feminists. It's so many, and look, I love my folks, okay, but it's so many Black women that are feminists that think that they're separate from their own men, that they allow themselves to be used as attack dogs for the Democratic Party. We saw that with I can't think of her name, the prosecutor in Georgia who tried to prosecute him. On
you're talking about Fannie Willis.
Yeah, Fannie Willis, who allows themselves, is just another tactic that they use. These women or certain Black people that think that the Democratic Party has their best interests. They use them as attack dogs to do what a lot of these other prosecutors that are white or Republican will not. They knew that case may not go well for them because Trump is a petty person. He's a vengeful person, And when Fannie Willis did that, of course, a lot of her skeletons start falling out of the closet, which in turn has damaged her career, all because you wanted to be a suicide bomber for the Democratic Party and go at this man not knowing what you was going up against. And I see that being done right now with these three women who've Kamala, maybe she might do something for the feminists or whatever, but for the most part, she don't have black people as a whole best interest at heart. And they, of course, them with the alphabet people and everybody else think that they're about to, you don't see no men up here. You just see three women who think that they're about to tell this man off, and then it's not going to fare well. So that's all I wanted to
add. If I can just chime in. Okay.
Yeah, go on.
Okay, first of all, this is the point that I made when I did my stream earlier today.
Mm-hmm.
When you decide to run for the highest office of the land, you better be prepared that whatever you have said in the past, regardless of what context you have made, people are gonna ask questions about it, and you're gonna have to be prepared to answer for those, because Trump has made some racist remarks regarding various ethnic groups, not just the African American community, as well as the Latino community, as well as several communities. Okay.
Yeah. One of the first things he said when he came down the escalator.
If I may continue. Okay, so basically, your alternative would be acknowledge it, deny it, or just refuse to answer the question. Okay, but for him to go on that tirade simply because she did not address it with a softball question like it was done on Fox. Okay. And then for him to get all that upset about it. Okay. I mean, that was not appropriate. Now, of course, people will say her question was not appropriate. I mean, and she could have started by saying hello and go all the the niceties and what have you. But the fact of the matter, whenever you say anything or do anything in your past, people are going to bring it to light, and people are going to ask you questions. Okay, so I remember on one platform that I spoke about when it comes to issues with the African American community. The only ones that can resolve those issues are the members of that community. Would you believe a Black woman actually called me to task simply for me to state that? Okay, simply for me to say that. And I wasn't being racist or whatever. All I said was whatever issues that the African American community have, they're gonna have to resolve it. What we who are not part of the community can do is we can try to learn what's the situation, so we can have a deeper understanding. But whatever issues it's in the African American community, they're gonna have to resolve it. But the fact of the matter is, Donald Trump acted like a spoiled brat because someone took away their toys and what have you. And these are the things I'm going to be discussing on Saturday night. And I'm sure Rocky have a couple of things that you wish to say after that. So I'm just going to let you speak.
Okay, really quick, and because of understanding, that's why I'm doing this. That's why you don't hear me trying to tell anybody what they should do. I'm just kind of like coming up with the clips, sharing them with you, presenting this, and having commentary about it. But I'm from a different community. I don't try to make assumptions and trying to tell anybody what to do. But I do live in this country, so
Ramon, and everybody is entitled to their own opinion. This is YouTube. Everybody can speak about what they want to speak about. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion. That's just what it is. We in a country But to add to what you were saying, and to what Jose was saying, a lot of the issues with Black Americans is not, something that can easily be fixed, because a lot of it is very systemic. As much as people try to deny that or pretend that is not the case, it's systemic, and it's a lot of things that people are trying to even recover from that has been in place for a very long time. Even when you look at like our family structure and how it was sabotaged, and how what's crazy is that if anybody had been faced with the same issues that Black Americans in America was faced with, it'll be the same result for anybody. Because when you're in a situation where you have a lack of education, and you have practically the United States government preying on you and using you as a guinea pig for different things and destroying your family structure, people thinking that they're going to get, I'm going to get this amount of money, then I don't need, the other person in the household, and different things like that. And, I'm going to be able to make this amount of money selling drugs, and I'm stuck in poverty-stricken environments where it's abandoned buildings and, no grocery stores. And, then I'm going to do that. And that's how it happens. A lot of people, is not saying that we don't take any responsibility for the choices that we make. We definitely have to take responsibility for the choices that we make. But it's a term that, a lot of Southern Black folks used to say, when you know better, you do better. And it's a lot of people, they fall for the okie doke, and they, just don't do better. So it's a whole lot of, I'll be taking a whole hour trying to explain, but it's a whole lot of things that's going on that is very difficult for people to understand, because they haven't really been placed in that type of situation. So
okay. Yeah, let me continue with the clip so we can keep listening to.
What Blood Moon be getting on my nerves. And she knows
don't let her. Don't let her. She's trolling you. Trolling you already. I welcome Blood Moon.
Blood Moon. No, she know how to irritate.
I welcome them. Just let them trigger you.
Okay.
No, I know Blood. I've been knowing Blood Moon for a very long time. I know how Blood Moon. And she said she was a Gemini, which explains why she crazy.
Yeah. That whole duality shit. Mm-hmm.
Well, at least you can say this much about Blood Moon. She's going to be consistent all the time. So I will give it.
Oh yeah. Right.
Absolutely.
All right, let's continue.
Republicans on Capitol Hill have labeled Vice President Kamala Harris, who is the first Black and Asian American woman to serve as vice president and be on a major party ticket, as a DEI hire. Is that acceptable language to you? And will you tell those Republicans and those supporters to stop it?
How do you define DEI? Go ahead. How do you define
diversity, equity, and inclusion?
Okay, yeah, go ahead. Is that what your definition?
That is
give me a
literally
definition
the words.
then. Would you give me a definition
DEI.
of that? Give me a definition.
Sir, I'm asking you a question, a very direct question.
Define it for me, if you would.
I just defined it, sir. Do you believe that Vice President Kamala Harris is only on the ticket because she is a Black woman?
Well, I can say, no, I think it's maybe a little bit different. So I've known her a long time indirectly, not directly very much. And she was always of Indian heritage, and she was only promoting Indian heritage. I didn't know she was Black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn Black, and now she wants to be known as Black. So I don't know, is she Indian or is she Black?
She has always identified as a Black woman. She went to a historically Black college.
I respect either one, but she obviously doesn't, because she was Indian all the way, and then all of a sudden she made a turn and she became a Black person.
Just to be clear, sir, do you believe that
I think somebody should look into that too when you continue in a very hostile, nasty tone.
It's a direct question, sir. Do you believe that Vice President Kamala Harris is a DEI hire, as some Republicans
really don't
have said?
know. I mean, I really don't know. Could be. There are some, and there are plenty. I know this lady right over there, Harris, is a fantastic person who just interviewed me at length. And we had a great interview, I think, and I heard you got very good ratings on that.
Well, you told me it was the longest one of your life, so we had a good discussion. Look, I want to talk about why you're here today. I mean, it is not lost on us how divided we are as a country. And as you were coming today, we really got to see that we are divided along the lines of race, along the lines of gender. And there is this question of, in this moment where we are, why come here? What is your message today?
My message is to stop people from invading our country that are taking, frankly, a lot of problems with it. But one of the big problems, and a lot of the journalists in this room I know and I have great respect for, a lot of the journalists in this room are Black. I will tell you that coming from the border are millions and millions of people that happen to be taking Black jobs. You had the best.
What exactly is a Black job, sir?
A Black job is anybody that has a job. That's what it is. Anybody that has a job.
All right.
And
Mr. President,
they're taking the employment away from Black people. They're coming in, they're invading. It's an invasion of millions of people, probably 15, 16, 17 million people. I have a feeling it's much more than that. And everybody's been seeing what's happened. The first group of people, the Black population, is affected most by that. And Kamala is allowing it to happen. She's the border czar. She's the worst border czar in the history of the world. There's never been a border czar like this. She's never even essentially been. She said she was there once, but not the right part of the border. So she was a border czar. She's done a horrible job. These people are coming into our country and they're taking Black jobs and Hispanic jobs. And frankly, they're taking union jobs. Unions are being very badly affected by all of the millions of people that are pouring into our country. And one thing, as we discussed, many of these people are coming in from mental institutions, from prisons, from jails. They're gang members in other countries. Other countries are setting loose their prisoners. They're opening up their prisons and their mental institutions, and they're taking their bad people, drug dealers, gang members, and they're bringing them into the United States. And by the way, their crime rate is going down, and our crime rate is going to be a disaster.
Mr. President, I want to get into how you address some of the issues with Black communities. And I say that plural because we live in communities of color that are different. We're not all the same. We don't vote the same. We don't think the same.
Sure.
It's not monolithic. So as you come here today, I want to talk about something that bursts, and this is the weight of the inflation on this country right now. The nonprofit Money Management International recently released data from its mid-year analysis that we have found a 52% rise in people who are seeking counseling for being in credit debt. They're paying for food that is sky high on their credit cards, and now they can't pay that off. The credit counseling nonprofit MMI, as I said, is saying now that they've seen surges that they haven't seen since we were in a pandemic of people in financial trouble. Much of that falls on the shoulders of single moms, single Black moms, when you look statistically. Yeah. How do you turn it around? What's your plan for the Black community when it comes to money?
So, first of all, it's very hard to hear you for whatever reason because of the fact that they have bad equipment, because I guess, this woman was unable to get the right equipment. But it's very hard for me to hear you, but I can hear every other word. It's very difficult, actually. But so I don't know if they can fix it or do something with it, but I'll do the best I can with it. The inflation is absolutely destroyed.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, as you can see with a lot of these women talking points, you see they never once mentioned men. You saw everything that they're saying is rally behind the women.
Well, they're saying people. I hear people being mentioned. That should include Black men too. Unless I'm mistaken.
Excuse me, if I can just chime in for me.
Mm-hmm.
The one area where I think Joe Biden has screwed up the most has been with the migrant crisis.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, first of all, what should have been done, there should have been like a national policy to deal with these migrants, refugees, or whatever people want to call them, okay? And then you should have a discussion with the governors.
Mhm.
And they say, okay, each state is going to receive a certain number of these people and no more.
Yeah.
Okay. And then once that's done, I'm sorry, we cannot let any more of these people in. That did not happen. What happened is that after arriving in Texas or Florida, they got shipped to New York, they got shipped to Massachusetts, they got shipped to Illinois, they got shipped to California, to the point that New York City is going broke, trying to deal with these migrants. Number one. Number two, Joe Biden should have a discussion with some of these Latin American countries and see what they can do to try to take in some of these migrants.
Mhm.
Okay?
Mhm.
Because we cannot save the entire world. Okay? We cannot. Unfortunately, we have developed this concept that we got to save the whole world and we got to invite everybody to come over here. If there's one area where Joe Biden has screwed up big time, has this migrant crisis. Had he had some sort of a national system or process or whatever, where, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to vet these people and make sure that we're not anyone that's going to harm us or whatever, things of that nature. Okay. Now, as far as Black job is concerned, I mean, first of all, what about take away jobs, period? Okay. First of all, I mean, look, we all know that virtually every ethnic group, once they have the training and the education, they're able to do any job that they wish, given the opportunity that they have to do so. Okay. So, and again, it's basically, here we go. He's complaining about the equipment. I mean, I heard them very well, and I'm through a computer. Okay, and when it comes to the issue with the single moms, we have to address why the single moms are there in the first place.
Mhm.
Okay. Some of it has to do with the fact, unfortunately, the husband or the father passed away. And some of them became single moms that way. But we have to acknowledge the fact that some of these women become single mom because of the poor choices that they made. Okay? As far as giving that privilege to carry a child for 9 months. Okay. And in fact, you have some of these women who have like 3 or 4 or 5 baby daddies. Okay. And no accountability being taken for the choices they made. But yet it's men's fault that it's a man's fault that a woman decided to have
Always.
8 children with 6 different baby daddies, or like in one person on TikTok, 7 children with 7 different baby daddies, and the first time she had a child when she was 14 years old. So part of the problem is that there had to be some accountability had to be taken by these women for the poor choices that they make. And I can go on for hours talking about that alone. But unfortunately, we're living in a society where it encourages that type of conduct. I mean, look, we have cash, we have public assistance, we have food stamps, we have Section 8, we have Medicaid. So basically, for a lot of these women, basically the government is the daddy. Okay. As long as women, some of these women do not take accountability for the poor choices they make, it's going to continue. And I'm sorry for getting on my soapbox. It's just that I'm living in New York and I have to deal with this migrant situation. And I actually worked with these people for over a year.
Mhm.
So if anyone has any knowledge regarding these people, it's myself. I'm sorry, Rocky. I think you wanted to say something.
Oh, no, no problem, Jose. I just wanted to say once again to Fulana La Cubana, happy belated birthday, girl.
Yes, happy birthday, Fulana.
Fulana, I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you got a chance to kick back and relax because we all know you be working hard. So happy belated birthday once again.
Hey, happy birthday, girl. That's good.
But yeah, Jose, you hit the nail on the head, but they don't really talk about things like that. If I was to say certain things like that, I'd be looked at that, oh, I'm hating and everything. I can remember when I was coming up as a teenager, and it was girls that'd be, oh, I'm gonna get pregnant and get on government assistance. That they wouldn't, because that was the hustle that was passed down that they learned about. Mm-hmm. And hell, man, I was like, and then like a lot of the women, they have the children not out of love, but to get resources. That's why you got so many messed up kids running around here, mm-hmm. Men, they don't have no foundation. I've heard, I've had friends that, Ma, I'm hungry. I ain't got no money for nothing. I don't know what to tell you. You better get out there and hustle. You better get out there and sell dope, do whatever you got to do. And these is kids, nothing 15, 16.
Mm-hmm.
So, but that's never talked about. Was talked about is it made it seem like a lot of, and it don't get me wrong, there's some women out there that's, had children and the dude end up not taking care of his responsibilities. And he was just a piss poor example for a man. That happens, but it's a lot of people that hide behind that tries to, that know that they never had no intentions on having family, anything like that. And they, selfishly have children and throw their children to the wolves just for resources from the government. That happens a lot. And that kid becomes cannon fodder for the prison, for the penitentiary, or he, gets swallowed in by the streets. He gets swallowed up by the streets. And, they out there, they don't know they left from they right. And they just follow in what they think that's popular because they don't have a mind to critically think of their own, and nobody really instilled any type of self-respect or pride in them. So they're just out there doing whatever. So that happens.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the thing is that some of those women are the same ones that, because there are more and more men that don't want to deal with modern women, and they assume that there are all these guys that are staying home and not working, playing video games. And my question is, okay, how the hell do these guys get to do that? Because we as men, we don't really qualify for food stamps like that. I mean, that's more of a resource that is more set aside for women. The women can get shelter if they're homeless, and women can get the food stamps, and they get more food stamps if they have more kids. And sometimes if they're divorced, they can get the child support also, and sometimes even alimony, depending on what part of the country that is. Women don't get none of those things. It's rare even for a man to be on a homeless shelter. Yes, there may be some that get in, but there are no homeless shelters dedicated to men that are homeless. That's usually more for men, for women.
Most of the times when you're like in the downtown area and stuff like that, or you see a lot of homeless men out there. You don't see now. Don't get me wrong. I don't know if they screwed their lives up by doing dope or whatever they was doing, but for the most part, you just see mostly men out there. You don't see women. And even when you look at the court systems, with divorce and child custody and everything like that, they favor the women. And a lot of the time it's because, unfortunately, what we're looking at right now in the United States is that things are designed to take the resources from men, period. And I'm not trying to be on no gender stuff. I'm just calling it how I see it. And it's like, it's a game, man. It's a whole political game. And It's a whole political game, and it's just about money and how can this country eats its own. This country eats its own, and before they decide to do right by the people in their country, they'll have other people that can come in from situations where they're running from a corrupt government or destabilize destabilize countries and everything like that to prey on them to create the illusion, and in some cases you are, but to make it seem like, oh, you getting more than what you would get back home, so come over here. Meanwhile, they're turning around and exploiting those people because they don't want to pay people here the wages that they need to to live every day here. So it's a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me, but you know what they're talking about by 2030? 40% of the women, I think from the 20s and the 30s and in the 40s, are going to remain single for the rest of their lives because a lot of the men have decided not to date. Okay, because unfortunately, some of these women, they make these guys go through so many hoops and whatever, and a lot of the time they don't even know what they're looking for in a man. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so all I can say to you ladies, unless you get your act together, I hate to echo the words of Kevin Samuels, but what's going to happen is get a dog and learn how to live.
Yeah,
Live with a
because
dog.
there are more and more guys that are choosing to be with somebody in another country that maybe they can have a more healthy relationship, and it's not all this toxicity that is protected by a law in this country. So where the man is have to taking abuse in silence, because that happens. That is a thing, and I will never condone an act of violence from a man to a woman. But there are instances in which a man can take abuse so long and he snaps, and then a tragedy happens. And
To address Fulana, I have someone, and in fact, she actually came to visit me last month.
Oh, okay, Jose. Okay.
I know.
In your face, Fulana. In your face. But
and the next time she's coming, she's going to stay for a whole month.
But
good.
But the thing, the thing is, I don't even think it's just a situation of people not really wanting to deal with each other, because I know we got ladies in the chat. Fulana, I know Fulana don't have a problem getting a man. I know TT Juju don't have a problem getting a man. And Blood Moon is feminist and hateful as she is. She don't have a problem getting a man. But like for the younger generations coming up, when things are structured like this, it's making it like where it's just like they like how things used to be are gone, and then it's so much stuff going on. Like these new kids don't even know they don't even know how to speak to each other no more.
Yeah, and the thing is that and the girls that are coming out are not being raised right to have a healthy relationship, because maybe some of them are having their mom or their aunt seeing her as competition instead of somebody to nurture and to educate and pass down the knowledge that they have acquired in their lives. That's because of it's happening. Some of these younger women, they are like 20 something years old, and they have a mom that is about 40, and they are competing for the same guy that is 32 years old.
I mean, I saw that. I saw, like, I remember seeing a video where this girl, she had to be in her 20s. I think her mama was in her 40s. She busted in on her mother with a man, and then she was like, "You laying up with my man." And the mother was just like, "You don't treat him right. You don't do right by him." And
at first, I thought that was a skit. I was like, "No, this has to be fake. This has to be fake," because the mom was very unapologetic about it. She was like proud on it. I'm doing it better than you. Like, like
Mhm.
I'm showing you how it's done. She was on that shit.
Yeah,
You
and
know,
she made a response video on that too, saying she was sorry and she was. So I don't know. It could have been a skit. It could have been real.
Yeah, I know. There are a lot of these situations that you see on social media they're really skits. They're really not they're not real. That's why one has to be careful on what you watch on social media. That it could be fake. A lot of those situations are fake. So it's like I don't know, but it's not necessarily untrue that situations like that might happen. They're just not being posted on social media because one is walking into the other and it's a relative with their significant other and they're in shock and they don't think about start recording even though we
Yeah,
are living in
yeah.
a
It's
time
gonna
where
be a lot of
people
fist. It's gonna be a lot of fist thrown. It's gonna be a lot. It's
yeah
gonna
they're
be a
gonna
whole
be
lot of rumbling.
hands and feet and
but you,
flying and
but you know, but excuse me, but you know what I find humorous when you go into TikTok and you see these women in their 20s and their 30s and they're talking about, well, why don't the men approach us anymore? Why don't they ask us out? I mean, look, the fact of the matter
because
is,
they
some of you women,
said leave us alone. The woman themselves told
hey,
me.
I mean, excuse me, let me just say this. I mean,
Mhm.
look, these same ladies been telling men for like forever, do not approach them, to get near them, whatever. So whenever men decide to honor their request or the something, they get upset. It's like no one wants to approach me, no one wants to date me. Well, because we got your message loud and clear. You didn't want us to approach you, and that's the reason why, a lot of some of the men decide, you know what, it's not worth dating today because some of these women that have these crazy, humongous expectations that no one can satisfy. And let's keep it clear: some of the men do the same thing, but women are more guilty about this than men.
No, and in the worst case situations, it's happening at the workplaces where men at the workplace they don't want to be in a conference room along with a woman. They don't want to be working with a woman. They would rather work with a man because they're trying to
Oh,
avoid some
uh,
frivolous accusation. Mhm.
Ramon, can you highlight the statement that Falana made about me? Okay, well, she said I must have
Oh,
gotten laid. That's the reason why I'm so aggressive.
okay, okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, I was going on. I highlighted the wrong thing. No, but that's not how it goes, Jose.
Love this trip.
Somebody,
Love
somebody, somebody gets laid. It should be the opposite of getting aggressive. I mean, I don't know. I'm missing something there. You should be relaxed. You should
But
be at
But
ease.
you,
You should be with a smile.
but you know something. One thing I have to say. One thing I have to say about my lady. She is a lady. She's educated. She shares my values. Okay, and I can't wait for her next visit. Um, it's just that unfortunately, since I had my surgery, there's nothing a lot I couldn't do. So I definitely, when next time she's come, we're definitely gonna go to a couple of nice Dominican restaurants. I'm gonna take her sightseeing. I mean, if in summertime, I'm gonna take her to the beautiful and awesome Orchard Beach.
You messed up. You're gonna mess up. I mean, she comes from a place where there are beautiful beaches, and you take her to Chocha Beach. That's she's not gonna be impressed with that. So I don't think you should do that. Now I'm highlighting Bloodmoon's comment because I don't know what you mean. Well, I don't have something set up to take donations. Maybe I should. But who are you talking about kicking out?
You know what?
What are you talking
I
about?
think I think what she's talking about something like Fido would do, like people would hit the cash app if they want a certain member of the panel removed for a couple of minutes.
Uh-huh. Why would I wanna do that? What no, no, I don't have something set up. I think Fighter does something like that. Uh, no, I don't know. I don't know about that. I don't know if I will do that.
But and because one thing that we talked about too, Ramon, because like how I grew up on R&B.
Yeah.
You same thing with you, and like I had a friend, right? He was dating some chick, and because he was asking me, he was like, man, where these? Because it ain't like she be listening to R&B, but it goes to show you how people can be programmed. Because like now the R&B that they listen to is R&B like Summer Walker and all of these different women that talk about heartbreak or doing things back to men over heartbreak and stuff like that. So it's not like the old days of Jodeci or H-Town and different things like that. And I was like, that's how I know I didn't got old, man. Because like when I think of R&B, I think of that. I don't know like what a lot of the younger generation is listening to, but from what I hear, women like Summer Walker and stuff like that. And
no, Cesar is the biggest offender.
Yeah.
Just the one who makes old songs about about taking out the life of the guy that she used to be with, because actually taking out lives because she's jealous, or she can't take the fact that she's alone now, and she's into some thing about wanting to take out the guy's life because he's not with her anymore. Cesar is the biggest offender. There are other songs that I do like of hers. Yeah, but that is the one that is called Kill Bill.
Is that the one? Is that the one when she calls into the cops saying that I think I deleted my ex and his spouse and stuff like that?
Yeah,
I think that's the song. Yeah, I heard about that. So it's like people, and then Fulana, TT Juju, they from New York City, came up under Lil Kim. But Lil Kim, like, and that's the thing, man, because I'm biased because that's the generation I grew up under. But it seemed like Lil Kim, she had her her sex appeal, and she was sexual and everything, but she seemed like she had a little bit more class, where she had more style, and she was able to, the way she was able to word things, she was like, versus just a Megan Thee Stallion just twerking and all these other women just being outright nasty. Like Lil Kim can actually rap. Like Foxy Brown can rap. Like, and when she had the different color minks on and the different, like they had style. She could run with the dudes. Like I'm one of them, but I know plenty of dudes that would bump some Kim or some Foxy Brown. I don't know no dudes today that's bumping no Megan Thee Stallion or no Nicki Minaj or nothing like that. But so it's the way people are being programmed to because what you listen to and what you absorb, that gets into your psyche, and it changes how your perception on things and how you feel about things. And so what's being put out there too has a valuable impact on the generation today. Now, like, because it's gotten to the point where boys, go speak to some of these young boys 15, 16 years old. You can't show too much interest in a woman because then you thirsty, and I can't really talk to him like that. And then you got these young girls 17 years old. Oh, he need to be having at least $3,000 to $4,000 in their pocket. You tell they being influenced by social media.
It's unfortunate, but that's really just showing how much they don't like the dude. I mean, that just is the requirements, those high requirements that women put on men. They're putting in on the men that they don't like, because somebody that a woman likes, all of the requirements go out the window.
So true.
That's basically how.
So true.
So you definitely, you got a point. But for the most part, it's crazy. Like with the way things have drastically changed. And I don't know, maybe I'm old and I'm stuck in my way of thinking, because it seems like it don't seem like it was that long ago. Like the 2000s and the 90s, it don't seem like it was that long ago. But so much is changing at a rapid pace, and not for the better. either.
No, it's only going backwards. I mean, one of the worst things that has happened to recorded music is auto-tune. Now, just about everybody can do some auto-tune song and have a hit record, and you never know if the person is actually talented because they're using auto-tune and making their voice sound all right. Um, yeah, it used to be better before the doggone auto-tune. Let me add a new guest. What's going on, Irby?
Hey, Irby.
Oh man, shout out to my dude Irby. Irby, what's going on with you, bro?
Yeah. You were
Y'all can hear
mentioning.
me?
Yeah, I can hear
Y'all
you
can
now.
hear me?
Yeah. No, you were mentioning Summer Walker. There is one song of hers that I actually like, believe it or not. I came across one of her songs. It's called Tonight. That song is actually all right because she's not talking about trying to cause harm to the dude that she's supposed to love. The lyrics are something about her having been on the road, and now that she's back home, she wanna spend it with the guy tonight. So that's not bad. That's not bad. It's just the censorship is what it turns.
Don't forget the City Girls too. Golly, they messed up stuff. Yeah, the City
Oh
Girls.
no, I haven't heard anything from her, from those girls. And the first time I heard about the City Girls was when they did that song with Cardi B. That's when I heard of them for the first time.
And the funny thing is, like, all of them be selling a product that they not really, really living by. Like the City Girls, they all, F this dude, F that dude, get the money. But both of them are in relationships. Well, at least one of them was. I know the other chick, she was getting pimped out by Puffy, but for the most part, they in relationships. Cardi B talking all of that stuff. Oh, I don't cook, I don't clean, but let me show you how I get this ring. She don't do all of that, but she in a relationship. Beyonce, all the single ladies, all the single ladies.
About the single ladies with a husband.
But you know what? By the time the damage is done, people forget. They forget that Beyonce was out here advocating for all of the single women that she married, and they don't put two and two together. People don't put two and two together. But like Fulana said, she said it's work. We all sell. Like, I ain't gonna front. It goes like that way for the men. Like growing up, we love Jay-Z. I can't tell you how many dudes on my finger I can count that went to jail for selling drugs because they was influenced by Jay-Z.
Well, they messed up. They messed up. They should have known better. I mean, because to my understanding, yes, Jay-Z had a past before he got into music. Not too different from somebody like Eazy-E. I mean, Eazy-E before he got into music, he had a past. He had selling a little something on the streets. That was the way that he could get some money out of it, and with that, I understand that's how he started. He had the funding to start doing recorded music.
Ruthless Records,
right?
And we got to give it up because Eazy-E really put. Nobody knew anything about LA before Eazy-E. At least I didn't. I didn't know much about Compton or any of them places before he definitely put the West Coast on them. I know Ice-T was around.
Now that I think about it, it was Ice-T, NWA, and everything else after that. I think it was. I mean, I don't remember anything from the West Coast before those guys.
Yeah,
I don't recall anything. Yeah.
And then I thought a Jerry curl was a West Coast thing as a kid. I didn't know that everybody wore those.
Yeah, you saw Ice Cube, you thought that.
I saw Ice Cube and Eazy-E, and I used to think.
But you
tell my mother. I used to be like, "Look, Ma, he got a Jerry curl. He from Compton." That's
but did you see Coming to America? Were those Coming to America?
Yeah. But you know what? I was a kid. Like I guess I was just going off of the music videos that I saw. So I didn't really look at Coming to America. So I thought, like, for me looking at the gangster rap videos in LA, I just thought it was those was the only dudes that was wearing Jerry curls. Because I didn't see anybody around us with him, so I used to think, man, he got to be from Compton or he from LA because he got a Jerry curl.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
Say again. You are kind of muffled.
Y'all can hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, we hear you.
Yeah, because he was over here. They got jokes in the chat. Titi and Fulana.
Oh.
That was California. That was California. Mike Jackson with a Jerry.
Okay, you're borging. You're getting all sounding all robotic.
No, I'll come back.
Okay.
Well, I could hear you now.
It's just
that it may not be sustainable.
Ramon,
don't do live streams on that Obama phone, man.
Exactly. That's what I've been saying for a long time. I mean, but Ramon, can I give like a little help update regarding my health?
Yeah. I mean, I understand that you're on the mend and you're gonna be all right. You're gonna be all right.
Yeah,
But go on.
Okay. Well, right now it's going to be close to 3 weeks that I've been walking with the aid of a cane. So I transitioned from using a walker to a cane. I'm walking longer. I mean, it takes me longer to get to my destination, but I'm able to get there. And now I'm doing outpatient therapy. So, and believe it or not, I had my knee replacement surgery on June the 20th, and here it is, August the 1st, and it's been almost 3 weeks, and I've been walking with the aid of the cane, and I think by the end of the month, I'll be able to walk without any devices at all.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, let me give a shout out to Dreadlock Diaries or Gertie Shell.
Shout out to Kashel. Shout out to
Yeah.
Kashel. It's been a while.
Okay, thanks for sharing. I mean, you know that you're welcome to hit the link too. I mean, we don't mind. We don't mind having a bit of feminine energy up on the panel. I mean, it's not always about the guys, about the fellas.
Yeah, we're not gonna do a Donald Trump and get emotional because someone asks us a difficult question.
Yeah.
Yeah, and oh man, what I was gonna say with Trump. Oh man, I forgot what I was gonna say. Oh yeah, but even with him covering Kamala, one thing people got to understand, and I don't know if people understand this, when he says, she doesn't identify as a black woman, something really got me thinking that maybe Trump's people that advise him on certain things have been watching social media, and they've been watching a lot of these different YouTube videos, because now it's being influenced in reverse. Social media and YouTube is influencing what people say in the news and what is being said in a lot of these public forums and different things like that.
Yeah, what is being said on mainstream media, because I mean there are more eyes on social media than on mainstream media. So
right.
the influence is kind of like the opposite way. It used to be kind of like you have mainstream media and that it will influence what will be social media. We saw your RB. What happened to you? What happened with the Obama phone? Is it failing on you? Come on, you need to operate.
Hey, where you at? Irby got that Boost Mobile. Irby got that.
Look, and the thing is about Boost Mobile, I have used Boost Mobile. Boost Mobile is not necessarily bad. It's kind of like it's the Obama phone. There are people that are hanging on to their Obama phones. Yeah. But the whole thing with the race is debatable. It's been talked about for some times, but then again, it's okay to ask the question. What Trump was saying, that's perfectly fine, because I have seen interviews and I have seen pictures like the one on the thumbnail where she's wearing Indian garb with her Indian side of the family, but she does have the Jamaican side of the family, which is more Afro-descendant. That's part of her too. She can claim that too.
Right. And here's the thing, because
Uh-huh.
one thing that people don't understand, especially when you like with the situation with race here in America, like how you'll have people that think, oh, it's just an illusion in Black people's minds and they're victims and all of that. And that's easy to say, because if you're coming from, you know, the islands, or you're coming from places where that may not be your primary concern, because
Mhm.
of, you know, you coming up in you know, poverty in the islands and in other countries don't compare to the United States. So I understand that.
Mhm.
But people, when you're coming into a new land, it's a lot of things that you have to absorb and you have to try to understand, so you can, you know, so you can have some sense of idea on how things work. Like if I was to go to the DR, if I was to go to Puerto Rico, if I was to go to Jamaica, I'll have to learn those, at least some type of history of that island, to know as like, you know, what's going on with, you know, the history of that place, to understand the landscape of, you know, the islands. It was a situation here now, like, because Randy Carlis can say Jamaican as in born in Jamaica, not Black. But see, that's the thing that I'm saying. Like, your nationality is not your race. Like, now in some cases people would look at it like that, but a person that's born in Jamaica, a person that's born in Cuba, a person that's born in the United States can share the same race as me, but be culturally different, because Black is a race. I don't know if people understand that. There's a situation here where in Pennsylvania, a man, now some people say, oh, I'm Jamaican, I'm not Black. Well, he moved in majority all white area, Jamaican man with his Jamaican family. It was a situation where, I guess, you know, his Jamaican son befriended some white kids in that area, and they end up jumping them and beating them, and they were screaming to him, go back to Africa, go back to Africa. Well, he went in and he called his dad and he let him know what had happened, or he called somebody because he wasn't feeling well, and he ended up dying, you know, or being deleted. And, you know, that's the situations that can happen, that you may not fully understand what's going on. And I'm not saying that's always the case, but that happens. Just like, you know, back in the day, it was an Ethiopian person that, you know, he was beaten to deletion by a group of skinheads. You know, this person is of Ethiopian descent. He's not, you know, he's all the way on the eastern side of Africa, but that's not what they see. The situation with Botham John in Texas,
Mm-hmm.
that was a situation. This man is of Caribbean ancestry. He was blown away sitting down in his own house eating ice cream, or his own apartment eating ice cream. After that happened, the family, who was very religious, was saying how much they forgive her, hugged the shooter, and different things like that. And a lot of Black Americans was pissed about that, because they like, y'all are leaving this situation for her to get off. And what happened after they showed that and they forgave her and all of this other stuff? Within 2 years of that situation, this woman was trying to file. I think
she was trying to get out. She was trying to get
out. Like, she was trying to get out. So that's what, when Black America, like, people just don't understand. You know,
but the whole forgiving thing. I mean, the judge was being like that too. The judge, because she was a female.
Excuse me. Let's see if Irby is taking care of his technical difficulties.
I don't know. I don't know if you're going to be borging on the Obama phone. So let's hear it.
Y'all need to stop. I know y'all hear me now, right?
Yeah, we hear you.
Yeah. Oh, you finally get your ball. Oh, you finally get your ball phone to work now.
Whatever, Jose. I wanted to respond to 18. Don't you think those people in those West Indian country are more passive? They've been more colonized than everybody.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've like, from what I've seen. Now I know a few people, but when I noticed that people that come to the States, when they start regurgitating like more, oh, it's just about hard work and it's about this and it's about that, and they regurgitate those talking points, it comes off that was instilled in them. You know, like, I'm like, oh, you really don't know. You really don't know the states like that. I can tell. You really don't understand.
Or they scared them after that because none of them gonna come out
Yeah,
like
a lot of they scare a lot of people. I've seen
they
videos.
They scared them with that Garvey. Remember what happened? You see, the same thing you said. What happened with Garvey? That's they put that fear in them out.
Yeah, like I've seen like not just that, but you know, it's like I've seen you know, videos of even other you know, people of African descent like coming from, whether it be like even coming from Africa, where Africans would say, yeah, we was told in what do you call that? What do you call those little programs when you come into the States and they had you watch videos and stuff? And they'd be like, yeah, we was told to stay away from Black Americans, that Black Americans was this and that. And these are other Black people that are saying this stuff. So it is definitely a sense of brainwashing, and it's people can take advantage and make you fear things because you don't know. You coming from a completely different country and you have an opportunity to be in America. And when you come into America, you're like, oh man, this is the land of opportunity, the land of milk and honey. And you feel like if it don't benefit you, or if you can throw other people under the bus to be accepted by the people that's more, you know, in the elite class, then that's what you're going to do. And that's what happens a lot. And yeah, some people can be very passive.
And they get all these stereotypes. They get all these stereotypes from what they see on television.
Yeah, but see, that's the thing, because like we got social media now, so people can't just social media can be people doing the most and acting a fool on here too. But for the most part, like they don't realize them. Like I've had conversations with other Africans. They was like, you know, oh well, we saw you guys like is because they show you all as drug dealers and criminals and murderers and different things like that. And I had to tell them, I'm like, do you know what they show y'all as here in the United States? Do you have any idea? They try to show y'all living in mud huts and being
they show them skin bleaching like crazy over there.
No, not that. I didn't even see it. I'm just with the feed an African a day for $1 with flies.
Oh yeah, the whole thing about care. I remember care back in the day, which was about that, and they will always show you all of the videos of the starving baby, skeletal looking baby with flies on their faces. I saw so many commercials like that when I was a kid. I mean, it wasn't one day. And you see that so many times. You see that for so long, and you believe it. You internalize it in your mind. You believe that's how the whole content is.
That's exactly what propaganda and media does. I can remember going to school in the cafeteria, and we'd be talking about that, and there'd be kids like, "Man, I'd be feeling bad watching that stuff." I was like, "Man, me too, man." I'd be seeing them kids all teary-eyed and stuff, and I'm like, man, I wish it was something I can really do, but I ain't got no money. You know, we used to talk about that stuff, but yeah, like Blood Moon said, it's not throwing people under the bus. Rakim is us, is UIS, is a me, myself, and I country. Step on those below you to get to the top. If whiners are at the bottom, then so be it. I'm not whining, Blood Moon. I just be voicing my opinion. Be quiet.
Oh my goodness.
Damn, Armando, what the hell?
You see, Blood Moon, you're misspelling. And they need to do that commercial with Americans. I did. Fulana, you are hilarious. But yeah, that's what they yeah. So like I had to tell them that because oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jose.
One thing you gotta hand it to Blood Moon. She has a unique sense of humor. Okay, now let's see if Irby has fixed his technical difficulties. If you can try to speak.
I'm right here, Jose. I see everything. Right. I see Blood Moon talking shit in the chat. I ain't seen that.
Okay. I just wanted to give you an opportunity to make sure that you resolve your technical issues. That's all.
And then the way, and like, and that's the thing that America banks on, because after that first generation, nobody's really immigrant no more. Like, you know, if people came from the islands or they came from Africa, if they growing up in New York or they growing up in any of these major cities, after that second generation and everything, you start to, you know, you have an American mentality. You understand, you know, the cost of living. Things don't seem new to you like it did to your parents or your grandparents and different things like that. And people are completely merged into American society. So you start to see the BS as far as pay and different things like that. You're like, damn, man, I can't. Y'all keep raising the cost of living, but my wages is staying stagnant.
Mhm.
And you keep, you know, saying it's about hard work, and I've been busting my ass for the last 6 days and only having 1 day off, and I'm barely, you know, getting anywhere. And ain't nobody about to be piled up in no 2-bedroom apartment where it's 6 of us. That may work for a while, but it only works to the people that, if they came from a situation where it was dire, they was desperate, then they can have the mentality to make that work here because they feel like they're coming into something a little bit better. But for the people that that don't really, that's difficult. I'm not saying it can't be done, but that's extremely difficult to do things like that. So when that happens, you just like, well, you telling me it's about all of this other stuff. It's about hard work and all of this, and I've been working hard, and yet I'm not getting anywhere. Or it's people that's remember what in the movie damn, what's the name of that movie? The Bronx Tale. Remember when Robert De Niro told his son, he was like, your grandparents, they came here from Italy. They worked hard, and they did everything. He was like, yeah, and they was and he was like, they was born with nothing and they died with nothing.
Yeah, they had
He
an argument. But they came here and came here to give you a better life, and he questioned that, like, with what better life? We don't even have a car. We don't have anything. The working man is a sucker, because that's kind of what he had learned from the mobster, from the neighborhood mobster, that the working man is a sucker, and he threw that to his dad's face, like, because he was a bus driver. He was kind of like, they were living in an apartment, and he was he was a bus driver,
right?
And that's kind of all that he did, and they weren't having like upward mobility, if you will. So she, yeah, the kid was kind of frustrated about that, and he was hanging around with the other with the other kids that were up to no good and shit. And yeah, we saw the movie. We know the ending, and he made it out of a. He got out of a situation that could have cost him his life. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, and it's a slippery slope, because I've seen things similar where, it was dudes that was, I can remember being a kid, like, damn, man, I wish I had this and that. You see the guys that was hustling, and they had what you thought was a lot at that time, and it's a lot to kids, when you a kid. Like, when I wanted that pair of Air Jordans, and I wanted, money and stuff like that, and when you see them doing that, you like, damn, man, how can I be like y'all? How can I, make money like y'all? You know what I'm saying? I want some of that stuff too. Or you see them coming down the block in the BMW, or they got a Lexus, or they got, different things like that. And yeah, you working, and you just like, it doesn't resonate with you a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, guys, I'm not gonna have this on too long. I mean, I do have to go to bed in a little bit, so I'm gonna start wrapping it up. Herbie, or the Obama phone fell on you again. I hope everything is okay. I hope it didn't catch on fire or something.
Hey Ramon, can you highlight Blood Moon's comment really quickly? She said, I have noticed that when celebs adopt black boys, they feminize them so they won't be scared of them as teenagers and adults. You know what? I've noticed the same thing, Blood Moon. But you know what's funny about that, right? On a like they've created an image. Oh, black men are so scary and they so vicious and brutal, and you should avoid them at all costs. But if you notice with celebrities, when it comes to their bodyguards, they get the biggest black dudes. These dudes be like 6'7", 300 and some pounds to be.
Yeah, they go around bumping on the ceiling.
Yeah, I'm like,
The ceiling because
they
they're
get
so big.
these super. I'm like, they get these super big black dudes, man, to try to ward off anybody that may approach. I guess it'd be funny. It'd be funny because they used they use that like kind of propaganda and everything to their advantage when it comes down to it. But yeah, I've noticed that too, Blood Moon, because Charlie Theron and turned those little boys into little girls, and it's sickening.
Yeah. That's why I avoid her movies. I mean, I learned about that some time ago. She adopted an African kid, and by the time he was 3 years old, started telling everybody that he said to her, "Mommy, I feel like I'm a girl." Bullshit. A 3-year-old is not thinking about none of that. I sure wasn't. I was too busy playing with dirt to be thinking about sexuality. I mean, she's a damn liar.
Right. I agree 100%. Hell,
Well,
at 6 years old, I thought I was Wolverine. I got a little older and realized I wasn't.
Yeah, I mean,
Sean,
it's a mess. I don't know about. I didn't know about Madonna. Maybe somebody like um Angelina Jolie might be onto that shit because she did adopted some kids. I don't know if she's doing the same thing, but they're Hollywood. These are all Hollywood motherfuckers.
well, I'm gonna state my final remarks. First of all,
Yes.
Earthy, if you're gonna use your phone, at least get like an iPhone or a Galaxy S24 something like that to do StreamYard because that Obama phone has got to go. Number one. Um, it was great to be able to have this discussion with you guys regarding Kamala Harris. And the thing that I want people to understand, look, you can support whoever you wish. But the
Hmm.
thing is, whoever you're going to support, make sure that you do your research regarding what is it that they really want to do, and just don't listen to the sound bites, okay? Because there's people talking about, well, you should support Kamala Harris because she's black. You should support Donald Trump because of whatever. No, actually spend the time and actually learn what it is that they really want to do, and then you base your decision on that. Look. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be voting for Kamala Harris for two good reasons: Project 2025 and Agenda 47. And if you don't know what they are, do your research.
Oh, I know.
Do
I
your
know.
research.
Definitely not
Okay.
not voting for that shit.
Yeah. But in any case, it was a pleasure to interact with you guys. It's been a while since we have been able to talk about these topics, and we needed to continue to talk about other topics. As the men of reason over here in these YouTube streets, and of course, I got to plug my channel a little bit. So if you have not done so, please consider subscribing to Uncommon Sense with Jose Negron, where I talk about everyday issues and we try to come up with logical solutions. And a huge shout out to all my supporters because thanks to them, I've achieved exercise which I have gotten.
All right. All right. Good. And definitely do, as he says, subscribe to his channel on Common Sense with with Jose Negron. Follow his channel because he is more consistent when it comes to putting out content than me. I need to take a cue from that. But I appreciate you being on my panel and until the next time.
Mm-hmm. So, Joaquin, what's your final thoughts?
Well, let me get at Blood Moon for a quick second. This woman, man, this woman. Blood Moon, I do not hate women. I love me some women. And I don't wish the worst for women, okay? I just be calling out a lot of the BS I see. I don't be crying. I'm just voicing my opinion. That's all. And I got to start being a little bit more consistent as far as doing streams myself. This was a very interesting stream. Thanks to my boy, the introvert Boricua, for letting me up. I appreciate you for allowing me on your platform. And I'll have some streams coming in the future. I need to really learn how to get good with StreamYard because I want to be able to do what I see like a lot of these other pages doing. And, just to make it a little bit more exciting and a little bit more interesting. So I definitely
I would suggest that you do the millennial thing and actually go into YouTube and learn how to do whatever it is that you want to do.
Yeah, I got to definitely.
Yeah, the thing is that you're not gonna know where to start. I'm sure there are gonna be 50 million videos on how to do StreamYard. The StreamYard itself does have videos. I think StreamYard has its own channel with tutorials and all, but there are gonna be so many tutorials.
I want to ask. I gotta ask TT Juju a question because I see she brought up Brad Pitt. TT Juju, do you think that Brad Pitt should have stayed with Jennifer Aniston, or should he have, went with Angelina Jolie when that situation presented itself, or should he have stayed with Jennifer Aniston?
Well, I don't know. The thing with him, apparently he had a good with Jennifer Aniston, but then Angelina Jolie came along, and it became a competition. From what I remember, if it traces back to when they did that movie, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, I think Brad Pitt, he was still with Jennifer Aniston when he did Mr. and Mrs. Smith, and that's when things changed. Again, it's the whole competition thing. I mean, women compete with each other for men. I mean, they don't necessarily care so much about the guy. The man is a bit of a prize, if you will. As much as you don't like hearing that, but there are all of the situations when women get extremely competitive with each other, and it has to be with a man because apparently the man is in a way the prize, and they compete. The women that understand, there are women that understand that dating can be very competitive, and women that understand that they are willing to compete. That's why there are women that get what they want, and there are others that get left behind with their cats and dogs because they see themselves as the prize, and they're not willing to compete.
I remember watching. I remember watching a news clipping. It was here. These two women got into a fight over this dude, and I think one of the women, either she ended up shooting a woman or she hit her with her car, something like that. And they was asking the dude, they was like, why do you think they were fighting over you and everything? He was like, I don't know. I think it's because I'm handsome. He said that right there. But nobody passed away anything, but one of the women was seriously hurt because they was.
Yeah. The thing is that there was some violence. It got out of control.
Mm-hmm.
It got into some ratchet shit.
Well, I'm gonna hop off because it's time for me to go to bed. Oh, by the way, it's 142 days until the first day of winter.
No, don't start. I don't want to hear it.
Come on. Tomorrow's going to be 93 degrees in New York, and that's horrible.
93 degrees. I
It's been
grew up on 93 degrees, it being the norm. That's not hot.
That's horrible.
That's warm. That's nice and warm,
No, no, no.
comfortable. Yes.
No. Well, I'm praying that we have a nice normal cold winter with temperatures in single digits.
No, 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 no. So I'm gonna have to take a hot bath, and you keep talking like that. So no, stop. Appreciate you coming onto the panel, Jose. You have a good one. I'm gonna
All
be.
right. Good
I'm
night,
gonna be
guys.
closing. Yeah.
Good night, guys.
Yeah.
Take care.
Until next time, Jose. Thanks for coming. Dude.
My dude. Ramon, yeah, man. Man, I know Jose, what he was saying, like with the winter time, those winters here are no joke. With my job that I'm with right now, I started in the wintertime, and that was hell. I couldn't feel my face. I couldn't feel my fingers. I was breaking down people's gasoline tops only to see that it was covered in ice. I'm like, man, I ain't dropping no gas until you get some salt in there and clean that damn thing out, man. Freezing out here. It's 15 degrees. Hell, I was out there when it was -3 degrees, man. I was you know it's cold when the damn concrete is gray. When the sidewalk is gray, it's cold.
Yeah. I mean, oh man, I feel for you. I have to deal with those temperatures a couple of years back when we were having the vortex coming all the way down. I think it's the same type of vortex that hits your city, only that it extended further down south and it hit the Dallas area.
Oh,
I think it was the same vortex that hits your city.
Definitely.
And it God damn, it got like -2 degrees at one point.
I've seen the whole lake freeze over. I've seen the whole lake be like nothing but ice, you know. Man, that's crazy, man. Don't get me wrong, like I like it when it gets a little cool. One thing I like, we do have all the seasons. I like it when it gets a little cool because I like my winter apparel. I can throw on my nice winter jackets and sweaters and stuff like that. But when it gets extremely cold, man, it is no joke. And I come into my house and it be feeling like I'm a homeless person sleeping in an abandoned building somewhere, man. I'm like, oh man. Let me let me turn this heat on. It's still, even after I turn the heat on, it's gonna take a good 3 to 4 hours just because heat got to rise to the top, and so it's gonna take a while just to to cool off, man. So, I mean, just to warm up. So yeah.
Oh, definitely. I just don't want it to get too bad. Last winter, it wasn't too bad. We didn't have to deal with snow. No, snow itself is not the problem. It's when it's sleet. When we have to deal with sleet, that's what I hate. And it makes it difficult to move around. It makes it difficult to drive. It makes it difficult to walk on a damn sidewalk because you could slip and fall or slip and crash and slip and get into an accident. I hate that. I hate that with a passion because that's not what I grew up with. I grew up with humidity and a lot of rain. That's what I grew up with. So having to deal with something that can make me have an accident or maybe slip and fall on my ass and hurt myself and don't want to. Thankfully, that can only happen for like a couple of days out of the year here at most. So I just hope it doesn't get like that year that we will have in the vortex. The vortex came all the way down here.
Yeah, and it's crazy because I remember when I first got into trucking, my trainer, when I was like, man, I'm ready to go home because we was both in the truck together and it was cold. She's like, no, we got one more trip. I got to make the money. We're going to go to Detroit. I was like, oh, man. But, I got to go with what she want. And we was out there, man. It was freezing. It was a lot of snow and ice. and a Dodge Charger spent out right in front of us.
Oh,
Spent out right, and she screamed, and then I couldn't help it. I just blurted out like, "This on you! This all on you! You wanted to make this trip."
yeah. You didn't want.
wanted to make this
had a
trip.
feeling. You had a feeling. You didn't want to make that trip. Oh shit.
But thankfully, he spent out where we didn't hit him, and he ended up not smashing into nothing. He was able to keep going.
Yeah, okay.
Blood Moon. You know one thing I gotta give it to Blood Moon. No matter what, Blood Moon gonna always be Blood Moon, man. And that is funny.
Being funny. Simply to get his sausage. Wow. Oh, okay. I don't need that visual. Yeah.
No, Blood Moon is talking about somebody else, but she always gonna be Blood Moon, man.
Of course. Again, she trolls. Let the troll. Don't take her serious.
But yeah, I hope you got a chance to really enjoy your time while you was here, Ramon, and you definitely gonna come back, bro. And next time it'll be better, definitely.
No, I did. It was an experience. It was an experience seeing your city. So I thank you. I thank you for the opportunity to link up with you and checking things around. It was great. I mean, I had been wanting to visit Chicago for a long time, and not getting to meet you there, that was a bonus. So I appreciate it. I appreciated being able to travel and to meet up with you. Even though at first I was kind of getting a little bit salty because you got held up at first. You got held up, and I was waiting at the airport, and I was a little bit worried that maybe you had gotten.
Yeah, I apologize. I apologize for that because it was right in the heart of trying to work and different things like that. But next time that you come, I'll be able.
Yeah.
I'll put aside some vacation time. That way, I'll be able to really show you around, because we only scratched the surface. It's a real big city, and we'll be able to go downtown a little bit more, hit the Navy Pier, hit Lake Shore, and different places like that.
Yeah.
But
yes.
What did you think about Harold's Chicken?
It was good.
Like, you enjoyed it? Harold's Chicken, man. That's it. That is a staple here in my city, and it's been around.
That's when we had the tostones sandwich.
Oh yes, that's at I can't remember the name. Was it Sabroso Cache?
Okay, right.
Yeah.
That was a different place, but
yes.
Yeah.
And being able to see Michael Jackson's house and where he grew up. Yeah, that was pretty dope.
Yeah. Blood Moon. I had a couple of clips, and one of them when we went to the Jackson family house. I never thought that I would see it. That I will go there and see it. That was pretty good. That was pretty. Yeah. The thing is, I have all of those pictures on my phone. That's something that maybe we can do that at a later time and put them on the computer and organize them nice and show it then, because all of that is on my phone right now. Mm-hmm. But it was good. I had a few pictures and a couple of video clips. It's just that I don't have that organized on my computer right now. And we were going up and down on Humboldt.
Yeah, Paseo Boricua.
Boricua. Yes,
very strong
right.
culture. It's being gentrified now, but it's very, very strong culture in the Humboldt Park area. That is very known. A lot of history over there in that particular area. One thing I love definitely about this city is a lot of the culture and everything, and culture, whether it be in the Hispanic area or in the Black American areas. And there's just a lot of history there, from political to, music to, just our different entertainers and everything. Like, a lot of people don't know Red Fox is from here. Red Fox, he was born in St. Louis, but he was raised here. His nickname was Chicago Red growing up. And he, grew up on the South Side and everything. And from all our artists, from Common, as much as I don't like Kanye these days, Kanye, Common, Jennifer Hudson, a lot of the different, actors and everything, and musicians. Got a lot of, athletes. We was definitely, and we coming for y'all, New York. We was one of the top people in basketball. Definitely one of the top cities in basketball, next to New York City, to people in the Bronx and Brooklyn and all of that. But yeah,
let me share this really quick.
We're here. We're here. We're here. Right, Raheem? Right, Raheem? We're here.
Absolutely.
We're here.
Shout out to y'all.
That's right.
All right.
Yeah, just a little something.
Yeah, absolutely.
A little something so you guys see that it happened. Mm-hmm.
Take you over there on California and Division Avenue. So
that's right.
So yeah, man, it's a lot of, like I say, a lot of culture in this city. Yeah, I'm gonna start camming up. I'm gonna start camming up more. I'm gonna definitely start camming up more. Blood Moon. I'm gonna start camming up on my
No,
channel.
I wanted to make it really quick because I didn't know if you were okay with it. I didn't want to put the camera in your face.
Oh,
like
no,
that.
no, that's fine. No, definitely. No, that's fine.
You gotta make it quick because there are people that don't like it to be photographed. They don't like to be on camera. It's kind of like my aunt. I went to see my aunt, but I didn't take pictures of her because she doesn't like it. She don't like to be photographed. So I kind of like be cautious when it comes to that. There are people that don't care. They don't ask permission or something. And I know that there are people that are like, I'm not into that. Don't take pictures or whatever. Yeah. That's why when it came to you, because I just wanted to show proof that that's right.
You definitely was here, man, and it was a pleasure being able to meet you in person. It was real cool.
Yeah, likewise, man. We need to do this again.
Definitely had a chance to hit the range a little bit. I wish we would have a little bit more time.
Yeah, that's because we went there too. We went there too late, man. We got there too late, and yeah, I do have the clip of that. Maybe you guys have already seen it.
Yeah, but that was a good time, man. That was definitely a good time. You say Rondo says the camera takes part of your spirit. I don't know. I don't know about that one, man.
Well, I don't know where that comes from. I don't know where. I get what you're saying because you are kind of like putting your image all over the place. I don't know if it's something about it dilutes yourself. I don't know where that comes from. If you can give me some background as to what the logic is on that.
Let me ask you a quick question. Growing up over in the islands, are there any pictures of the Tainos? Is there any, because I know, like, of course you Boricua, and I know TT Juju and Blood Moon are Dominican, Cuban. Has anybody ever seen any pictures of the Tainos?
I think there are. I think that there are older pictures of the of Tainos that they were still living in their way of life, kind of like in balance with nature.
Because I was wondering if had the Spaniards ever taken any pictures of the Tainos, how we got pictures of the Native Americans here.
Yeah, I know. There are many pictures of Native Americans, but I will have to look into it to see if there are actual photographs of Taino. It's just that by the time it didn't take long. Of course, after the first 20 years during the first 20 years of the colonization, the Tainos did try to fight the Spaniards, the colonizers, but that was in the 16th century, where there were no photographs available. So what you do find a lot are portraits, but photographs were more widely available, kind of like in the mid 19th century, and I don't know if there were any pure Tainos still left by then. Most likely, it's not likely that there were any. So I don't know if there are any photographs of them. It was a relatively small group. It's not like up in the U.S. where after hundreds of years there were still kind of like pure natives still,
Right.
but they were being systematically basically removed from their ancestral lands and exterminated. But there were some pictures of them. There were the ones that couldn't keep reservations. So that made it possible. There was no such thing in the island. They were exterminated. The bloodline itself was not completely eradicated.
You
Many of us to this day, we still kind of have some of the bloodline still in us. Yeah.
Right. So
So this very quick when we were at the range.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's quite a unique boom in comparison to everything else. Now the rumble, the trading rumble. And the thing is that when you are directly behind it doesn't sound so loud, but if you're standing to the side where you are kind of like more kind of facing kind of like the concussion that comes out of the muscle, it sounds loud as hell. But for some reason, when you're right directly behind it, it doesn't sound as loud because it has something to do with the direction of the kind of like of the concussion that comes out. But we got there too late, man. we didn't get to do that much. Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. Next time, like I said, we'll definitely do a little bit more, man. Looking at that, I was like, man, I gotta slim down driving them trucks, man. I done gained a little weight, bro. Not eating right. But yeah, man, like it was very interesting time, man. Very cool to spend those couple of days with you and everything like that. So
that's right. Yes. So, my dude, I have to go. I'm gonna be taking my leave, and I appreciate you coming up to the panel and share your point of view on it, especially you being from the Black community, and because of the main subject has everything to do with the perception of Miss Harris when it comes to how she's seen racially. So it was good to have your point of view, your perspective on it. So I appreciate you coming up on the panel. And we need to do another stream soon again. And maybe you can do your own stream, man. Because I know you've been busy. Yeah. When you have a chance, do your stream, whatever it is, whatever is on your mind. That's what this is about.
Absolutely, because I think we all, including everybody in the chat, we don't really make money off of YouTube, but we definitely love the entertainment. We definitely like to come up here and, you know, voice our opinions and different things like that. So it's cool, man. Hopefully I'll see everybody. I'll see everybody there when I do my stream. It may be next week though.
All right then. Well, once again, appreciate you being on the panel, and shout out to the to the chat. Definitely, shout out to Jose from Common Sense with Jose Negron, and to the population in the chat: Armando, Blood Moon, Titi, Fulana, Irby. You guys take care. Appreciate it. So I'm gonna be heading out. So take care. 18 letter. Also, the 18 letter has a own channel. Anybody who hasn't subscribed, check out his channel and subscribe. He does content, but he's like less consistent than me, which is something.
Yeah, I used to be a lot of consistent. I used to be a little bit more consistent, man. But since changing jobs, because I changed jobs twice, and like trying to work back and forth, I gotta drive an hour to work for 12 to 13 hours, drive an hour back, and do that all over again every day until my off day. So yeah, I need to be a little bit more consistent because I really enjoy interacting with everybody. This has become like YouTube. I'm addicted, man. Just like a lot of us, I'm addicted, man. I got that monkey on my back. This literally has become like our virtual hangout. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We interact with everybody and it's entertaining, and it'd be a lot of drama and different shit like that. But for the most part, you know, we all addicted to hopping on YouTube and hearing people's perspective on different topics and making it entertaining. Like Blood Moon says, more ratchet. I could tell Blood Moon watched a lot of Jerry Springer when she was coming up.
Yeah, that was something else. Shout out and rest in peace to Jerry Springer. He did pass away a while back. And Blood Moon, maybe I should get my DNA test. I have thought about it for a long time, but I'm always kind of like, well, what does it matter? I'm Puerto Rican. That's not gonna change. But maybe I should get a DNA test.
I definitely want to give me one as well, man. I want to see where what percentages of different African background I have, what percentage of European ancestry I have. See if I have any native. I highly doubt I have any native, but that'll be interesting to see.
All right. Well, bye everybody. I have to go to bed. Then we'll talk again soon. Shout out to everybody. Shout out to you, Rakim, and the chat. Appreciate it. And until next time, this was Introvert Boricua on an impromptu live stream. And until next time, peace. Have a good one.